good, y'all? It's your boy Herb,
And it's your girl Mo.
and welcome to our soon-to-be
World-renowned podcast. Young, black, and figuring it out.
What up, though?
What it do?
How you feeling?
Son, I feel great.
Yeah?
Yeah, you know what? I slept.
Mm.
You know how important that is for me.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up, I was like, oh, you brand new. Who is this today?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That's something I wish I'd been doing more of. It ain't necessarily been happening that way.
So sorry for you.
That's okay.
Dang.
We here. Just give the energy. So tell me something.
Yes.
You know how we like to start off. I usually get you at the end.
You
I got
swear
you
you funny.
Well, you know how we like to start off. What did we figure out this week? I'm gonna have you kick us off. Tell us, what did you figure out this week?
Son. So I don't know if I was just in a life of delusion for a good number of years, but I realized how quickly my cup can empty.
Right.
And it was like almost shocking. All the time I'm thinking, I'm like, something just, it's people, it's this, it's that, it's all the other things going on, when I didn't realize it's me. Like my fuse was so short.
Yeah.
I'm just mad about everything, and I'm not generally an angry person, so I'm just like, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I'm like, all I could think about was the basics, right? I'm hungry. I am tired. That's all that was in my head all week.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is wrong with me? And it wasn't until yesterday you and I were having a conversation. I'm like, son, I realized my cup is empty.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't even attempted to get it poured into. And part of me didn't really know how to do that. So like, all conversations have been like, oh, I probably should write. I need to write. Some days I'll think like, maybe I need to cry, but it hasn't happened yet.
The tears ain't hit you yet.
They ain't hit me. It actually, I probably really need to cry because it's been a minute.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going out of my way to make sure I go exercise because I don't feel like I'm okay, right? And I'm like, it's no fault of anybody or anything. I'm just so busy. There's so many things. And I haven't had the opportunity to take the time. And when I do have the opportunity, I don't think I'm taking it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I end up pouring into other people with nothing.
Yeah.
Like literally exhaust fumes. Like that's what people are getting.
Yeah.
So that's my goal this weekend. I was like, nah, I'm taking time for me because I need it. And I want to be replenished. So yeah.
I like that. And you feel like, so you said exhaust fumes. Is that like what ways is that showing up? Like in what area specifically?
What?
Like things that you're doing?
Why are you asking me this?
No, for real though. 'Cause I feel like that helps to understand it with that too, because that can the ways that comes out.
Yeah.
Kind of give us indicators.
So, my life and my job is to like help other people, right? So between little children versus like even couples, and just helping them sort out their feelings and their thoughts and what's going on, their actions, their behaviors, making sure that they're okay. And generally people don't just offer that up to me because my natural happenstance is to sit there and be like, what's wrong? What do you need? How can I help you? I'm always giving and pouring out. So I'm recognizing, like, when I do get home, my sister will be there, happy-go-lucky, just like, hey, I want to talk. And I have nothing. And I couldn't figure out, I'm like, she hasn't done anything. Like, she's just there. Her existence is making me upset.
Right.
And I was like, I had to like do a whole almost like 15-minute conversation with myself to figure out why I'm upset. And I realized it was a day that really dragged. Like, I wake up for work and I'm there from 7 till 4. So that's long. And then I'll have class for 2 hours some days, or I'll have clients that can go for 2 hours or more some days. So it's a long day. So by the time I'm like able to relax, I'm starving. I need to take a shower. Sometimes I have to cook. It's just like, it's too much and I don't want to do anything. And I don't have words anymore, right? I'm just feeling. And so I was just agitated for no reason. I realized, it's not because she's done anything. It's just, I don't feel okay yet. Like, I need to do something for myself. So like, I went showered, and after I ate, I felt like a normal person again. And then, I didn't even tell her this. And then we ended up watching a show, and I watched something that I hadn't seen before, which was full of like all kinds of jokes. It was just so much humor that I was able to laugh.
Right.
And I felt way more like me. But I started to recognize that's happening daily.
Right. So like
things like that, like people who aren't actually doing anything to me are getting on my nerves. I'm like, that's a problem.
Got you.
That's not okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why, have you seen it?
No. I'm just wondering. I think that helps for people to understand and know, like, okay, if you're seeing that and you empty, this is how it can manifest. Cause that's probably happening to 2 people, and they don't even recognize that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know.
You're right. Like,
Yeah.
like, why are they always like this? Or why they get like this with me? It's like, it's not you. It's actually the time of day. Like at this point, when they see you, it's just the time of day.
In the time of life.
Yeah. And I am so thankful for her because it's like she's able to read me
Yeah.
much better. So she's like, I know you got a lot going on. What do you need? How can I help you? And I'm like, thank you. But there's just sometimes where it's like, you can't do anything. There's nothing but thank you. You know what I mean? But today she definitely made me breakfast. I was like, thank you. Because I ain't had no time.
Shout out to sis. We love that.
Right.
That's dope. Yeah, that's dope.
But on to you. What did you learn this week?
I think, man, definitely clear as day that I can't control everything. And in reality, you only can control a few things in life. You know what I mean? Even when it comes to yourself, it's only a few things you can actually control.
Right.
And so I think really had to learn like that. You just got to let that go. And then as long as you're doing things the right way, as far as like you making the right decisions, it's sound decisions, you're trying to live with integrity, what's going to happen is going to happen. Like that's just going to manifest out regardless. You know, you just got to like live and take your process in the best way possible, because in my new space where I'm working at, like there's a bunch of different voices and opinions and thoughts and things happening. And so me having to realize like, yeah, I can hear those and feel those and do certain things. And some people not going to love it. Other people going to love it regardless. But it's like that, I can't control those outcomes of those folks, right?
Yeah.
And even if I do something like whether it be a project or an initiative or whatever I might do, even when I'm stopping at a red light, I can't control what everyone else around me is doing or how they respond to that. Someone might crash into me, you know what I'm saying? Someone else might run the red light. Someone else like, you know, like whatever it might be, because it's like, in reality, I can't control that.
Right.
And so that, if I can learn to let that go, it's going to be so much freer and easier to navigate life.
What is that like associated or linked to? Is that like a people pleasing type of mindset?
I don't think it's people pleasing. I think it's really like, it's more about controlling the outcome, right? Like I want the outcome to be a certain way, and for it to be a certain way, like it has to look a certain way, for the organization or for the company, for the brand. And it's like, you can only do so much of that. Like there's a slippery slope between, trying to control the outcome and taking. So then for you take all the pieces of different people's things, you know what I'm saying? And controlling that so that it comes out the way it's viewed in a certain way, versus you saying, okay, I'm going to take input to inform a decision that I'm going to make the decision. And that's just what it's going to be. You know what I mean? And so after that, you're okay with the end result.
Right.
Like you cool with this. And that's the victory.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm good with this. It's the outcome that people got what they needed.
Yeah.
And if it is, yes. You know what I'm saying? And that's just going to be that.
No, I get that, because you got to manage like people's expectations and also your own. So like ensuring that the quality is there, and regardless of their necessary opinions, especially if it's negative, no, these are the things you asked for. These are the things I incorporated. Yeah. And it's to the standard that it should be.
Yeah. And even with that too, not even just necessarily negative opinions, like positive opinions, it's like they are like subconsciously deceptive. Like you like those the ones. So it's easy to say I'm gonna block out opinions when you're talking about negative. When it's positive, you actually want that, right? And it's like that can be just as dangerous, because that can be feeding you into also something that's not good. And so you really got to think about, all right, what's the outcome of this? Is it these things?
Right.
If this is the outcome and this is what I want, did it actually fulfill that? And did it address people's needs in a positive way? If that happened, positive, negative, middle, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're grounded.
You know? I'm cool with that. And that's what you gotta stop.
This.
Yeah,
it's like, no big ego. Holla.
Yo, it's hidden that like, all right, that's really what it's gotta be.
I like that.
Yeah, that's big.
So I'll take that back. I love that.
Yo, that's really, that's really hidden me. It's like, dang, that's tough. That could be an episode for it. But
look, now it's gonna be like this.
Yeah, hey, facts. Yeah, that's tough. But we do gotta I think just that's an important topic today. Just recently, we had an amazing experience. That's a first for us. A very first for us. We had our very first hater. Can you clap it up for the hater?
I'm not doing it.
And I was really, after I thought about it, I was happy about that. But
I have yet to reach that point.
Yeah, so
I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
Talk about a story. So not too long ago, a little while ago, maybe from now.
Yeah, it's pretty while ago.
We launched our merchandise. Right, the merch. So shout out to everybody who bought the merch, buying the merch. We not wearing it right now.
Wearing it,
but
like drinking from it,
all that. We appreciate
Thank you.
We launched that, and we had a really good reception.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yes.
But one night, and you can tell how you find it. But one night, I'm laying there, I'm just hype about it. I'm looking, I'm scrolling through. I see the comments, and somebody in there like, "Get this BS off my MFing timeline with this that like tight." Tight, like get this fake woke. I'm like, wow, brother was upset.
Yeah.
So I deleted it, the first one.
Yeah.
Then it got passed to you. You saw it.
So I saw another one, though, and I think it was a different picture. And so we had one of our friends who happens to be white wearing our shirt, and they were like, "She's a poor example for us," or something like that. And tight. I mean, putting on the angry emoji to the picture, and I'm like, you felt that strongly that you had to say something.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Nah.
I deleted it. I wasn't even on a whole.
Yeah, and I think it might have been another person that said something or did something. Right?
Oh yeah, I saw what them things, a GIF. They call it GIF. Yeah, I call it GIF, but they put a GIF, and it was something very inappropriate, talking about this keeps S in my timelines. I'ma S your comments or something like that. I deleted it. I also tried to ban them.
Yeah, what I'm gonna have to figure out what is. Yeah, tell me the S off camera. Which S you talking about? But okay.
It's like defecating. There you go.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Yeah, people's hating, and to be honest too, being young, black, and figuring it out, those folks were white.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those folks were white.
All of them.
Yeah, and so like, I guess I found myself reflecting on that in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
And thinking about what that could mean and for a bunch of different aspects. But really what I thought about first for me was what is leading to that reaction. Like what is getting people to react that way. Right? In the conclusion I came with and what I think is that when people, especially when you young, black, and figure it out, and you progressing, it makes people uncomfortable because of what they associate that with.
Right.
Like what they, because it's not like what we put up was heavily political. We weren't political at all. You know what I mean?
People in T-shirts.
It's people in T-shirts.
Yeah.
Really. And so it's like, that's something that has to do with them. That's not something that has to do with us and the brand. They had something going on that they had to come and do that.
You're a better person than me. Yeah.
And it's like they have some type of internal struggle that's leading to them then lashing out because
to strangers.
Yeah. And that's the only person that they would do it to is strangers. Like they wouldn't do that. Like I doubt if I saw that person in the mall and I was wearing a shirt that they would say that. But it's like, all right, I can do this behind the screen, and so
right.
My real feelings coming out towards that.
Internet tough. Yeah.
I
feel that. Yeah, they probably make a face. They might like shake their heads. They might, react personally, but not actually confront or toward. That's.
But what did you assess from them? Like, what did
So I did not humanize them. I'm not going to lie. I declared them to be trolls, and with all my heart, truly believe they weren't like people out here thriving with happy families. I'm like, there's no way. Like these must be people who are just angry at all people all the time, and just feel the need to, write negative things even if they don't actually feel that way. It's just like if I see a post, I'm gonna be the one to start something, right? And I don't know if it's attention seeking or what, but in my mind, these weren't real people. These are people who just do this to anybody. And it was annoying to me that they would take the time to bother us. I'm like, what do you want? What do you want from us? Like, what exactly are you trying to accomplish? What do you think this post is going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
How is this helping? Who is it benefiting? I couldn't. So I did not dive as deep into like, they're probably struggling with this. I'm really just like, you're just an agitator. You're just like going around attacking things for no reason. You're just one of those people.
Yeah, and I wasn't want to. That's true, and I didn't want to give them that pass to where it's like, you do this to anybody. You probably wouldn't do this to somebody that was white. I mean, you probably wouldn't do that to someone who had a different brand. I think it was the idea of blackness because people, I think, the way whiteness is structured, right? Like so if they are whatever might be struggling, if they people who struggling, not happy, not having a happy lifestyle, like you're saying, right? Something that is easy thing to attach to that makes you feel good, especially if you in a white space, is all right. At least I have this, because white has been linked to superiority, historically in our context.
Yeah.
So they have a one up on something. So when they see that and it's prosperous and it's happy,
Right.
that's easy to attack and belittle now. And it's like that gives that always has been a sense of power, because even if you go back in the day, and I'm gonna bring this forward, like
Where are we going?
many people were slaves or indentured servants in the beginning, white, indigenous, like whatever. What happened was, in order to start separating things out to give people a level of privilege and power, that's where we started getting the race,
True.
right? So you had black, and then whiteness became this thing where it's Italian, Irish, whatever it might be. So it gave them that status symbol.
Yeah.
So people still relish in that. You might be poor, you might be whatever, but you got this whiteness status symbol. And so when you see blackness thriving, that's a threat to your status.
Yeah.
And that's like, they might not be able to articulate that, but that's something that comes out where it's like, get this fake woke off my
Yeah.
Nah, you don't like that. And the fact that the world is now starting to question those things, people don't like that.
It's so, I mean, I hear you in a logical, objective manner. That makes so much sense. But me being me, and I'm sitting in my emotions, and I am feeling as subjective as it comes. And it's like, we ain't bothering you. Why are you coming for me? Like, I get so unnecessarily angry about it. Knowing good and well, I'm not about to say anything because I like to hold myself to a higher stance of integrity. But on the inside, I promise you, my Twitter fingers want to go. And it irks my nerves because those pictures are so, like, aesthetically pleasing. They're just so pleasant. It's like, how can you actually be mad about a group of black people just standing there with white people? Like, it was just black, just standing there in t-shirts, smiling. We're just smiling. It's like, I don't know, in my mind, as a black person, I can see the pictures and be like, dang, that looks good. Or like, it just conveys strength and beauty to me, right?
Yeah.
And I can't step outside of that to see how they may see it in which they want to say something negative or feel some form of negative emotion from it. It's like, what are you seeing? What is bothering you about this? Because you know how people get mad about black power, or when people say black is beautiful, like anytime there's something very encouraging about black skin, it's like, no, now you're being racist. It's like all these kind of name calling things start. And it's like,
yeah.
What? Why? Why is that problematic to you? I'm not even calling you anything.
Yeah.
I'm not assuming anything about you. I'm literally standing in my skin, proud and black, like happy as ever. And my happiness disrupts your peace.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
You ain't got no peace then, because
that's the internal. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's the same thing. Like when somebody says like even to go to the BLM, like the Black Lives Matter, right? It inherently, that statement should never be a problem.
I want to flip this table.
Like when you think about that, like Black Lives Matter, and all lives matter. Like, why does me saying that we matter automatically inspire an objection to you?
Yes.
Right? Which then tells me you don't believe that. Then when I say Black Lives Matter, if you have to negate it, no, all lives matter. Then that tells me that you don't believe that Black lives matter. Right? If you have to negate that.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing. Like if we put up this picture that is like, anyone can figure it out. Like, don't be upset that you don't know. Be inspired to figure it out. Like, we put up this, like, we're trying to inspire anyone.
Yeah.
And then we're inclusive because it wasn't just black folk, right? That bothers you. It's something going on with you, which was, And that was the moment of our first hater.
The troll.
Yo, it's like, you really a hater, you know? And and I was actually gonna ask you, how do you keep so with that? And I don't know if people understand. They actually they affect people. How do you keep your peace, or do you keep your peace when things like that happen? Regardless who it is, How do you keep your peace?
I think also like anytime I'd see it, it was randomly throughout the day, right? And I had to force myself to hit you up via voice note and laugh it off in order to not sit in my anger about it because it really irked my nerves. I'm like, that's not cute. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing about this that I think is funny or appropriate. And I didn't think that me setting myself down a few steps or notches was worth my time. I was like, nah, I don't think that's okay for us as a pair or us as a brand. And I'm like, this is just descriptive of who we are. You know what I mean? Like, maybe in some years we might not be young anymore, but we're still going to be black. And I bet you we're going to still be trying to figure it out. But it's just, I chose to delete it, tell you about it, and laugh about it. Like, that was my repetition. You know what I mean? Because I think I probably hit you with like 3 voice notes this week just about it. Because it was just but I didn't want to sit in that for too long. So that's how I kept my peace, I suppose.
Yeah. Do you often? Well, you know what? Like, I don't feel like just by the type of people we are, we don't get too much explicit hate.
Yeah.
People probably be hating. You feel me?
Never
we know
to my
people.
face.
Yeah, we know you hating on the low, but I'm playing. Whatever that is. But it's
Nobody
like,
listening should be.
hey, the haters be your biggest fans.
You right.
They be tuned in.
Because I ain't gonna lie, when you were talking about BLM, I was like, you want to hear a story?
Yo, you guys.
I know they listening to.
Yo, listen, the haters be your biggest fans.
Yeah.
They be, you know.
You're right, but no, like generally, nobody ever comes to our face and tries us.
Yeah, which was like, all right, we made it now. You know,
yeah, you keep like that.
Nah. So how do you typically? But do we know how we keep our peace? This is a good lesson for us.
When things actually upset us?
Well, like legitimate hate, because that's a different category. Like, being upset is different than like somebody hating.
I've never actually experienced that, though.
Okay.
I've had people dislike me, but for actual reasons, not just because I'm standing there. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you look this way, so I hate you. What? No, you know what I mean? Like, I've never experienced that before.
Explicitly. Because people would probably do that towards black skin often.
Right. But never so directly that I am fully aware of it. I can assume it. I might sense it. But even then, they're not about to say or attack me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that has not occurred.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Have you at any point?
I got a little bit in my last workspace. You already.
I'm like, care to share or?
Nah, I'm not gonna put them on. I'm not gonna do that right now. But you know the story.
I can't recall though. Please, I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny.
I know. I'm hip. But you know the story of like me coming into a space young, and you know, like
with that struggle.
We'll talk about that off there if you don't remember.
I'm thinking I know what you mean,
you
and I'm trying not to say too much because you're gonna be like, really, Mo?
Yeah, no. So we, you know, but yes, I felt a little bit of that where it's like, you have no reason to dislike me right now. But this was like. But I knew them. We had connected, like some type of. They knew me. I knew them. We didn't agree on perspectives, and so they have something to go off of. This is like you have no clue.
Yeah, at all.
And so
I don't even think they knew whose brand it was. It was, you know what I mean?
It was just like, let me hate. So you know, I think with that, where it's just like from afar haters, it was easier for me to keep my peace with that. I wasn't. I even had this crazy idea. Where I was like, well, I don't think it's crazy. I remember a long time ago. This guy named, he was the owner of the Clippers, I think. Something Sterling, right? And so he got caught on the cell phone.
I do remember this.
Yeah. I'm talking about Magic Johnson, calling him the N-word and saying he ain't this and all that. And so they kicked him, they got rid of the team. And so in my head, I'm like, man, that's like one of the worst things we could have done. It's just like, this is way before it was culturally acceptable to like silence somebody.
I swear we had this conversation.
Yeah.
When it happened,
way before it was culturally acceptable to like silence somebody. Now you say something out the way, you cancel for real. You out of there.
It's done.
Some of that's good, some of that's bad, but it's like, you know, you out of there. But they kicked him off the team. And I think they didn't let him on the team anymore. And I thought that was the worst thing we could have done because we lost a chance to educate, one. And two, show why we need to educate. Like, there's people who think like this. Like, if we could have unpacked what he thought more.
Make him like an example in that way.
Yo, this is how people think. And then along the way, educated him. Then we could have helped out because it's like, no, he probably we heard this on the cell phone. Like, he probably got a lot of deep-rooted issues and challenges that stem from whatever.
Yeah.
So let's show the world, see, y'all think this don't exist? And this is somebody in power. They hear. So I thought about with the post, I'm like, man, you know what? I should engage that some. Like, you know, like really heard, like, okay, what makes you say this? And then the articulation would have been out of ignorance. And now the world sees like, oh, you know what? There's a reason why they got this podcast, because this right here exists in a real way. Because the amount of people I bump into who like, oh yeah, like nah, this is actually effects.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like, oh, it kind of, no, this is everyday life. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, we have to live this, bro. We have to live this.
No, you're right. And I can't lie. I mean, if you had done it without letting me know that's what you're going to do, I cannot promise you how I would have reacted.
You've been tight.
I mean, the level of defense I put up, especially when it comes to like, I now feel the need to protect. That's how I feel. I'm like, ooh, I don't know. It might not have been pretty what was going on, but I could also see people joining, because I could see you saying, yeah, people will notice or see that people would say these things, but I could see people joining in and agreeing with him, you know, like in those negative, disrespectful spaces. I'm like, I'm not here for it. I am not here for any of it. And I'm like, I don't feel the need to argue back and forth, but I do not care to see things like that written. You know what it is? I'm just a words person. I'm a words of affirmation person. So if you're saying negative words, those things sink deeper than I care to allow. And so I know the fact that I don't know them shouldn't matter as much, but the fact that I don't know them bothers me more. If I know them, it makes sense to me. It's like, oh, there were traits all along the way that showed me this is the type of person you are. I could cut you out without thinking about you again. Way easier. But someone I don't know, where you have there's absolutely no basis for this.
Yeah.
Give me a reason. You know, make it make sense. That will boggle my mind, I think. Like, I don't know why I'm like this, and I wish I wasn't, because I wish I could just think like that. Like, you know what? Maybe let me educate. Let me give him a chance to grow.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a chance to grow. I think it's a chance to display, to give other people a chance to grow. Because I think that type of person may or may not.
Yeah.
But it's other folks who are, like, it's three groups of people. Like, we got the people who are like the choirs, what I call them.
The what?
The choir, or advocates. These are people who you preach this stuff to, and they're preaching to the choir. They, like, they're allied, they advocates. They understand this. They know it. They want to get it. They reading the books.
Like that.
No, for real. And then there's this middle group of people who are like miseducated, but they just need to see how this affects people who they care about everyday life. You know what I'm saying? And they just people who need education. But then you got the 10% of people, we talked about this, outwardly opposed, right? And you, like, they the loudest voices. And we may not get them. That was this person. But the people who in the middle, if they see that, like, oh, dang, that really, dang, like, this really happened. I had no idea. And they should have an idea. And just as well, like, you know how we post stuff up, and we appreciate y'all. You know how we post stuff up, and like, mad people like, yo, this is dope, this is great. I feel like those amount of people would have also jumped into the defense of, like, yo, this ain't right. Like, it would have been like a community.
True.
Like.
True.
Correction.
True.
Like, yo.
We love y'all. We really appreciate it. Yeah. No, you're right. That's a good point. That is a good point. I do love your mindset. I feel like you're progressive in that way. I mean, it makes sense to your role, especially. But like, yeah, I will support.
But you ain't.
I am not ready. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm like, let me get on. Nope. It is best that I sit back in these moments. You know what I mean? And you know how I could get. I don't always behave.
No, but that's okay. I think that's a good point to even pull out too, like the fact that like feeling like that we as a people have to deal with that emotionally. Like we have to be the people who receive and then pick and choose. Yeah. Do we do this today? Do we not?
Because it's exhausting. It's not, like, just because it happened for the first time this week, it's going to continue.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There may be more, and me recognizing now that I shouldn't be the one to engage.
Yeah.
I think is our smartest move. In the future, will that change? Possibly. I might get to a point where almost you get like numb to things, right? It almost becomes desensitized. So it's not like it doesn't hurt. It just won't hurt on that same type of level. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is a 1 on the pain scale when it originally was a 7, something like that, where maybe I can like help along or, you know, be less inclined to delete. That, I think that will be progress. That will be my goal then.
Even more, so I'm talking about like more with that, like as a group culture, like how we have to deal with that. You know, like maybe we can speak to that
as a people, like in culture.
As a people, how we have to deal with being like, you know, not even just as one off, because it's that, you know, but like as a culture, we have to deal with that. And we really have to. We have to navigate those from whoever though. Not just talking about like when it comes to isms and racism, what it might be. We just gotta deal with
Isms, yeah.
we just gotta deal with that more. Like, dang, now I gotta choose do I respond to that today. It's exhausting.
I mean, especially if it's in a workplace, there's those like mental conversations you go back and forth with yourself. You're like, okay, if I don't address this, this will continue. If I address this now, this will be received wrong. But I can't just let it be because it's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Do I get support from others, or does that now look like we're revolting? I don't know. And yeah, like it is mental effort every time. Whether you respond or not, it's going to be a full-blown conversation in your head. And it's like, do I ask others for their opinions? And then you at the same time don't want to get them hot, especially if they work with you. Yo.
Cause now they get like the secondhand trauma. They feeling that, like, yo, that happened to you? Yeah.
Everyone's opinion alters and shifts, and now it's like this quiet rebellion against, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man, that hate is real. That hate is real.
I prefer living life without it, but you know.
Yeah, you know, or just not paying. But it's no way to ascend without it.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not possible. I would prefer, but it ain't gonna happen. I know that.
And I was almost like a kid. I'm like, yo, we got our first hater. It's like Christmas.
That's exactly. I ain't gonna front, y'all. That's exactly how you sounded on the phone, mad hype. And he couldn't see my face. But I was like, what? Like, get out of here.
And we got our first hater. We done made it. I hear about this in a rap song, so I know we good now.
I'm like, yo, we even big yet.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, soon to be. Okay, we're over now. Did not happen just yet.
Soon to be. I'm like, we know it's gonna be this soon.
Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, possibly. You remember I hit you yesterday, and I was like, son, I just had like back-to-back conversations with people who really boosted the podcast, but in a sense of they just appreciated the fact that we're doing it. And I needed that. It almost like counterbalanced that out, right? It's like, oh, that angry feeling is a lot more diffused because this matters to others too. Like it matters so much to us, but the fact that other people find value in it's like, okay, don't worry about the trolls who don't know anything about it and don't care enough. I'm like, thank you. Thank y'all. Yeah,
appreciate that too. And that's confirmation. I try not to let that be validation, but it's definitely confidence.
Yes.
Like confirmation, like, okay, this is affecting people. And that almost go back to the beginning, full circle of like having a like staying so grounded and centered like that. Neither one of those things is like gonna affect me. Appreciate the praise. Still appreciate the hate because it gives us guidance and awareness. And it's like, but none of those things can pierce, you know, if you're really confident. And that was not planned. It's like, oh, that really is here. Like, oh, yeah, you know, we're just talking about this.
Nah, but the way you said that got me like, you know what? The hate definitely tells us we're on the right path.
Yes.
Like we're heading in the right direction because that is what comes with it. Like, I'm glad you said that. That actually helped me.
Well, you send it back that way. Actually, oh, yeah, that's what we saying? Yes, that's what I meant. Nah, but it's really like it's confirmation from both angles. Yeah. It's two forms of confirmation.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really what that is. Like, dang. And you know what? Sometimes in complaints and hate are some of like the best opportunities.
Absolutely.
You know? It's like, okay, that one was just ridiculous and dumb.
Rude, disrespectful, yes.
And ridiculous. Like, yo, who are you, bro?
With the thesaurus, like I got mad adjectives.
Yeah, we're going to find him as a part of me wants to be like, all right, bro, pull up. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this.
The quickest way for someone to not respond back. Yeah, say that.
Yeah, all right, pull up, bro. Let's go see. Let's talk about this in person there. But nah, yeah, you know how I mean. For a minute, you go there and you like, oh yeah, okay, so that's you tough now. But nah, let me stop playing, dude. Stop working at Robert. Say anything, but
I can't stand you.
Nah, but for real, no, I think. I value what you're saying in that sense of like, and I hope that's a lesson to. This can be a lesson to whoever hears it in the sense of the way words can impact and the way action impact, like what that does when you just let me go Twitter fingers it out. Like, nah, like you putting this into a space that people now are affect. And if you're somebody who cares about that, like you should be able to not just monitor, but like think about what you are doing to people with that. And that's a lesson to me too. You know, to not just be saying anything.
Yeah, because you had mentioned like sometimes we got complaints and everything. It could be a perfect opportunity for growth and whatnot, but it's like all about tone, right? Because I recognize when my cup was a lot empty this week, so sorry for anyone who was in my path by accident. However, like my tone wasn't the best because I didn't have anything in me, right? And it wasn't even for a lack of effort. I tried and it wasn't working. I couldn't get it.
Circle.
But like certain things that I saw problems or issues or whatever, and I wanted to, express it because I've gotten to a point where I feel like I need to speak up when I see something to make things better, right? Never to just complain, but always for a solution. And depending on tone, it won't always sound like a solution.
Yep.
It will sound like a criticism.
Yep.
And the only way that I recognize I'm messing up is based off of others' reactions, which I don't want to keep doing. But when people get defensive or they like kind of snap back at you, it's like, you started that. You know what? I'm the toxic one right now. It's me.
I put that into the world,
Right?
And so I did that.
Right?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Too.
Yes.
Like, that's a real. Did you already come to that revelation before right now?
Yes, but I never articulated it.
Okay,
It was all in my brain.
Yeah, that's tough. Because that wasn't what you had said prior too about that. So you talking about that now?
Full circle.
Hey, it's crazy. Hey, what do we figure out this week is actually a perfect setup for conversations.
Yes.
We see us figuring it out right still as it happens.
It's our regular
Yo,
life.
that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah. And then the other thing I want to talk about too is this.
No, you ain't.
You already know what's coming. Listen, people might be listening. Like, yo, what in the world?
I'm so done with him.
What in the world are they talking about? I'm like, yo, listen, we might be right,
We might be wrong.
but at the end of the day, we
Just
young,
black,
and figured it out.